Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi amma ba'd. On this night preceding the 22nd of Sha'ban, the year 1440, we return to our regular classes on Al-Ajurrumiyya, the Ajurrumiyya primer in Arabic language. And this evening's topic is a very important one, and it's one that I consider to be the most difficult and challenging item in the beginner's learning stage of learning the Arabic language. So it's going to need our focus and our attention this evening more than normally. And that is lesson number 23. وَأَمَّا الْفَتْحَةُ As for the Fathah, فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلْخَفْضِ فِي الْإِسْمِ الَّذِي لَا يَنْصَرِفُ Then the Fathah is a sign of khafd, of being Makhfoodh, in nouns that are not munsarif. They are mamnu' min as-sarf. Mamnu' min as-sarf is a new term for us. And it's a difficult term to grasp because it covers a lot of categories of words. So the first thing I want to say to you is that mamnu' min as-sarf means essentially mamnu' min at-tanween. It means it does not take tanween. It's a noun that doesn't take tanween. And you remember from the very beginning of the book was something about the tanween. It's a sign of a word being an ism. There's no verb with a tanween. So here are now isms, asma, nouns, that are ghayru munawwan. They can't take tanween. All right? These nouns don't have tanween. And when I say tanween, I mean two dhammas, two fathas, or two kasras. Cannot put tanween on these words. Additionally, these words don't accept a kasra either. Additionally, these words don't accept a kasra when they stand alone. They'll accept a kasra in some circumstances, when they're mudaf, in a mudaf and mudaf ilayhi construction. Then they'll accept a kasra. And there's a whole lot that I'm going to say this evening that is going to be a rule, and then there's this exception from the rule. So it's a lot of, like I said, difficulty in front of you. Nas'alallahu taysirahu. We ask Allah that He grants us ease. The reason why, the scholars mention, is the reason why these words are mamnu' min as-sarf, they won't accept tanween, is there is something about these nouns that resemble verbs from one angle or another. There's a resemblance to verbs. And verbs do not ever have tanween. And verbs as well don't have the jar case or the khafd case. So that's why we have these two issues of no tanween and no kasra, because these nouns have some resemblance to verbs. They are still nouns, but some angles indicate that they have some resemblance to verbs. Essentially, we're looking at ilal, we're looking at reasons and categories of why a noun would be mamnu'un min as-sarf, not allowed to have tanween or a kasra. And I'm going to give you essentially 12 categories, which include some reasons, some flaws in the word, you could say, or some reasons why the word would resemble a verb from one way or another. And the first category, we'll just start with that and we'll throw the words out there. I want you to make sure you get the categories and you get at least one or two examples of words that go in each category. And then you'll be able to see the trends. And as you work with your Arabic language, you'll start seeing this issue come up a lot, mamnu' min as-sarf, and so on. The first category is al-alamiyya ma'at ta'nith. It is that it's a name. It's a proper noun. And that comes along with ta'nith. So a name that is also feminine. Can you give me an example? Aisha. So right away, we know that Aisha has got alamiyya, it's a name of a person, and ta'nith. The ta'nith in the word Aisha is both linguistic and in meaning. It's both ma'nawi and lafzi. That means there's a ta marbuta on the name. Aisha too. There's a ta marbuta. That's a sign of ta'nith right there. That's a sign of being feminine. And it's a name that's used for females. So now this category will also include names that have a physical sign of being mu'annath, being feminine, but they are masculine names for men. Like Talha, like Usama, like Ubaidah. Those names that have a ta marbuta. That's ta'neeth lafzi. That's a feminine sign. So it counts as alamiyya and ta'neeth. It counts as these two reasons. And this first category include names as well like Hamza and Usama and Talha and Ubaidah. So what that means is when it's majroor, we say an Talhata, an Ubaidata, an Aishata. Because why? It won't accept kasra and it won't accept the tanween. So it's not an Aishatin. No. An Zaydin, an Muhammadin, an Jabirin. No problem. But not Aisha. Not with alamiyya and ta'neeth. Not with a proper noun along with femininity. Whether that femininity is in reality or just in the wording of the name. And it could be that the name is female but it has no sign of ta'neeth. So it's mu'annath ma'anawi. It's mu'annath in its meaning, but it doesn't have a ta marbuta or an alif mamduda or anything like that. So it's like Zainab. The word Zainab, no ta marbuta, no obvious sign of being a female name. But we know that Zainab is a female name. It's used as a female name. So we say an Zainaba. We say an Zainaba. Second category is al-alamiyya, proper nouns, along with ma'a al-ajamiyya, being non-Arabic based. And when I say non-Arabic, and I'm going to include names that you're going to say, wait a minute, you're saying that's not an Arabic name? Like Ibrahim and Idris, right? These are non-Arabic names from the meaning that these names are not based on a verbal root. So Abraham is not from Abrahama or something like that. It's not based on a verb. That's the meaning of it not being Arabic. It is Arabic from another angle. Who can tell me why we would say the name Ibrahim is an Arabic name? Okay, the Quran is in what language? Arabic. So every word that's in the book of Allah Ta'ala is Arabic. So Abraham, it's written in the Arabic language, it's spoken by the Arabs, it's an Arabic word. But what we mean here is al-ishtiqaq, that it's not rooted in a 3-letter or 4-letter verb. And so you have, along with that, you have Idris, Ya'qub. So what would you say? An Idrisin? No. An Idrisa, on the authority of Idrisa. An Ibrahima. We would say Ja'a Ibrahimu, not Ibrahimun. Ja'a Muhammadun, Ja'a Zaydun. Those are munsarif. Those are nouns that take the tanween. Here's an ism mamnu' min as-sarf. So we say Ja'a Ibrahimu. Has a dhamma for being marfu', but not 2 dhammas. It doesn't accept tanween. Ra'aytu Ibrahima with a fatha. It doesn't accept the alif and the 2 fathas. You can't say Ra'aytu Ibrahiman or Ibrahima. No, Ra'aytu Ibrahima with just a fatha. It doesn't accept tanween. And Marartu bi Ibrahimin. No, bi Ibrahima. There's no kasra or kasratain. No 1 or 2 kasra. So it takes a fatha instead of the kasra. Notice that's the lesson we're studying now. وَأَمَّا الْفَتْحَةُ فَتَكُونُ عَلَامَةً لِلْخَفْضِ فِي الْإِسْمِ الَّذِي لَا يَنْصَرِفُ. The fatha is a sign of the makhfoodh case in nouns that don't accept tanween, the nouns which are mamnu' min as-sarf. So there's our second category. Names that, or proper names, that are also of non-Arabic origin or non-Arabic roots. Like Ibrahim, like Ya'qub, like Ishaq, like Idris, and the vast majority of the names of the prophets, essentially. Some of the scholars have mentioned only 3 were based on Arabic roots of the names of all of the prophets. Muhammadun, Salihun, and Shu'aib. طيب, the third category now of words that are mamnu' min as-sarf. First category is proper names that are feminine. Second category, proper names that are non-Arabic originally. Third category, proper names that are murakkab, that are two words put together. Like Ma'di Karib. Ma'di Karib. That's Ma'di plus Karib put together. Ma'di Karib. So we say Ja'a Ma'di Karibu. Ra'aytu Ma'di Kariba. Marartu bima'di Kariba. And we don't put a kasr on it or tanween. Like Ba'labak. Ba'labak is a land. And most often you'll hear this. Fulan is Ba'labaki. From two names put together. This is a bit of an odd one. Rama Hormuz. Rama Hormuz. Two names put together. This is called Alamiya and Tarkib. In terms of priority and applicability, this category you don't have to worry about it so much because the names like this are very rare. And if you did err in reading how the name should be read and you made it munsarif, you would probably be making the same mistake that all the Arabs would make anyway. So this one's not such a high priority. You need to know the first two categories because they're very common. All right, fourth category now. It's alamiya again, proper noun, along with ziyadatul alifi wa noon, a name that has alif noon at the end of it. Can you think of one, Ya Abbas? A name that ends with an. Name of a person. What's that guy? Authority. Sufyan. So you say an Sufyana and don't say an Sufyanin because he has a name and it comes with the alif noon suffix. Sufyan. These are names that have this alif and this noon is additional on top of the root. Not alif noon that is actually part of the name. Like Aban. Aban, and the alif and the noon are part of the name. But we mean here, names that already have a three-letter base, and then you add the alif noon. Like other names, Marwan. I'll give you some more names. Marwan, Uthman, Ibn Affan. So Uthman, Ibn Affan. You say An Uthmana, Ibni Affana. Not Uthmanin, Ibn Affanin. No. Put a fathah on both of them. Mamnu' min as-sarf. Imran, Adnan, these kinds of names. That's the fourth category. Names, proper names that have the alif noon extension. Ramadan falls into that now. It's the name of a month and also Sha'ban. Yeah, Sha'ban and Ramadan. Now, those two names, Sha'ban and Ramadan, they are proper names, Sha'ban and Ramadan, and they end with alif noon, so they are mamnu' min as-sarf. Shahru Ramadan alladhi. Not Shahru Ramadanin alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran, but Shahru Ramadan alladhi. Yeah, it's mudaf ilayh, majroor here. The alamatu jar is today's lesson, al-fatha, because لأنه ممنوع من الصرف. Fifthly, alamiyya, one more time, alamiyya, proper nouns, along with waznul fi'l, along with being on the scale of a fi'l. And here's the first time you see that thing I mentioned in the beginning, that these nouns resemble verbs from one way or another. You've seen it pop up here and there. Yani Marwan, Uthman, like ya'kulani, yashrabani. The alif noon is normally in verbs. There's the resemblance of the noun to the verbs. Like each one, there's a reason why it resembles a verb from a certain way. We really can't go into that in a half an hour. But that's the idea. Each one of these categories, there's a reason why this noun that would come like this resembles a verb. And here we have the most obvious one. It comes on the scale of a verb. Like what? Like Ahmad. Ahmadullah ta'ala. I praise Allah the Most High. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu. So Ahmad is a name. And it looks just like a verb. Ahmadu. Because of that resemblance, it's mamnu' min as-sarf. So you say Ja'a Ahmadu and not Ja'a Ahmadun. And you say Ra'aytu Ahmada and not Ra'aytu Ahmadan. And then you say Marartu bi Ahmada and not Marartu bi Ahmadin. Because the sign of Makhfoodh is the Fathah, today's lesson. Notice that we were cornered now at this time. As much as I could, I staved away the issue of mamnu' min as-sarf so you wouldn't have to study it. But now We've been boxed into a corner here with this lesson. There's no way around mamnu' min as-sarf with today's lesson. The fathah is a sign of khafd in the nouns that are mamnu' min as-sarf. So we have to know what mamnu' min as-sarf is from today forward. No more putting it off. So the fifth category then is the scale of a verb. And it's not just af'ala, like Ahmed. It's also Yazid, the name Yazid. You know, Zada Yazidu sounds like a verb, doesn't it? Yazidu. And his name is Yazid. And it's like a verb. So we've got alamiya and waznul fi'l. It's a proper noun, and it comes looking like the scale of a verb, an actual verb, really clear like that. Yashkur, taghlib, tadmur. There are names that are less common like that. The two that are very common that you need to remember for sure is Ahmad and Yazid. So we would say, with the word Yazid, we would say Ja'a Yazidu. Ra'aytu Yazida. Just one fathah, no fathatain. And marartu bi Yazida. And you don't put a kasra on it. You don't say bi Yazidin. No, because it's mamnu' min as-sarf. That's the fifth one. The sixth one and the final one that we're going to deal with alamiya, with proper nouns. So these first six are all about proper nouns and one other reason that makes them mamnu' min as-sarf. This is ma'al adal, along with justice. And what it means is what comes on the scale of Umar. The word Umar means justice. In terms of who he was historically, Umar ibn al-Khattab. And then if there's any doubt that the word Umar stands for justice, then came Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. So the word Umar is like a name that historically has this heavy, heavy meaning of this will be a just person. Umar. So then it became like Umar goes along with justice. And so they said, alamiya and adal. Alamiya and the name Umar. And words that are similar to Umar, they come fu'al. Like Zufar and Mudar. Rajabu Mudar. There's a month called Rajab, the 7th month. And the Prophet ﷺ called it Rajabu Mudar. The Rajab of Mudar. Mudar is the name of a tribe. So Rajabu Mudara. You don't put a tanween on it. You don't say Rajabu Mudarin. No, Rajabu Mudara. The hadith, the first hadith in Nawawi's 40. An Amir al-Mu'minina. Umara. Not Umarin. Don't say An Umarin. Because it's ممنوع من الصرف. علامة خفضه الفتحة عن عمر. Put a fatha on it as a sign of علامة خفضه. There's your first six. We're halfway done. That's all as it relates to proper nouns. Now we go into wasfiyya, descriptions. Not proper nouns, but descriptions. So category number 7 is al-wasfiyya مع زيادة الألف والنون. Like Rayyan, like Shab'an, Ta'ban, like Ghadban, like Za'lan. Za'lan is someone who's upset. Ghadban is someone who's angry. Jo'an, someone who's hungry. And so on. Atshan, someone who's thirsty. So now these aren't names. These are descriptions. So you would say, Ja'a rajulun ghadbanu. Not جاء رجل غضبان. No. جاء رجل غضبان. رأيت رجلا غضبان. مررت برجل غضبان. Today's lesson. It's majroor. The sign of it being majroor or makhfoodh is a fathah. That's number 7. So some examples are Rayyan. Since we're coming up to fasting, that's actually as a name, it would go in the earlier category. The name of the door of Jannah, Rayyan, that goes with the earlier category. But if it's just a description of someone who drinks and fulfills his thirst, he's a Rajul Rayyan. Rajulun Rayyanu. Hada Rajulun Rayyanu. The 8th category then is wasfiyya, descriptions, not proper names. Proper nouns, I mean. And waznul fi'l. And the scale of verbs. So like the word akram. So هذا رجل أكرم من أخيه. This man here is more generous than his brother. رجل أكرم من أخيه. رأيت رجلا أكرم من أخيه. I saw a man who was more generous than his brother. مررت برجل أكرم من أخيه. I passed by a man that was more generous than his brother. And like that, all of the things that come on that scale, like afdal and ahsan. Now, you might be saying, wait a minute. أليس الله بأحكمي. We have the scale here. بأحكم الحاكمين. أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. بلى. أليس الله بأحكمي. We've got a kasra on there. Isn't this mamnu' min as-sarf? It's a wasf. And it's on the scale of the fi'l. أفعل. I said in idafa constructions, it doesn't apply. You can take a kasra in idafa constructions. So it's akrami, al-akramin, ahsani. لَقَدْ خَلَقَنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. So there is a kasra allowed in idafa constructions. When it is mudaf, out of a mudaf and mudaf ilayh construction. Otherwise, هذا رجل أحسن من فلان. هذا أفضل من فلان. Not أفضل. ليس هو بأفضل من فلان. بأفضل. Not بأفضل. Like that. I'll give you a Quranic example for that so you can get that. وَإِذَا حُيِّيتُمْ بِتَحِيَّةٍ. If you are greeted with any greeting, what do? فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا. Then you greet with B. There's a ba, harfu khafdin. So ahsan here is makhfoodh. بِأَحْسَنَ. Not بِأَحْسَنٍ, but بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا. Why does it have a fathah on it? Because it's غير منصرف. It's ممنوع من الصرف. And it's مخفوض علامة خفضه الفتحة. That's the 8th category. 9th category is wasfiyya along with al-adal. And this one is very rare, just a few examples throughout the Quran. And that is being a description and coming on the scale of adal or something like adal. And here it's not even 3-lettered, it's 4 letters. Like mathna wa thulatha wa ruba'. Just remember those 3 words. Mathna, thulath, and ruba'. Those are mamnu' min as-sarf from the 9th category. And just trust me, it's something to do with al-adal. Even though it doesn't sound like Umar and Zufar and Mudar, it's ruba' with an extra alif in it. And thulath, and you can add to that khumas and sudas and suba' and anything based on the numbers. That's all. Not very common, and so as a priority, not very high in what we need to remember, but factually needed. Now, those first 9 categories, they each had 2 things together. Either wasfiyya and another illah, it's an adjective along with some other reason, or it's a proper noun along with another reason. There were 2 reasons put together. Now, the last 3 categories are categories of mamnu' min as-sarf that they just have one reason, and that one reason stands in the place of 2 reasons to be mamnu' min as-sarf. These last categories can simply just be described as those that have a single reason why they're mamnu' min as-sarf, and leave it like that. Number 10 is sighat muntaha al-jumu'. That the word comes in a plural, a certain scale of a plural. Not any plural, muntaha al-jumu', like the extended, excessive large number of plurals. How can we say it? Like masajid. Masjid wahid, masajidu kathira. So masajid, and anything that comes on the scale of masajid, like mafatih, and so on, it's mamnu' min as-sarf. So you say, dakhaltu masjidan, and then I make it plural, dakhaltu masajida kathiratan. Dakhaltu masjidan wahidan. The word masjid, the mufrad, the singular of it is munsarif. Make it plural, it comes on the scale of mafa'il, sighat muntaha al-jumu', then it is mamnu' min as-sarf. So, دخلت مساجد كثيرة. مررت بمساجد كثيرة. Other words like that are manabir, the plural of minbar. Manabir. Afadil, the plural of fadil. Unasun afadil. Amajid. Notice here, there's an aleph in the middle of 5 letters. These words are on a 5-letter scale, masajid, and each and every one of them has an aleph as number 3. Letter number 3 is an aleph right in the middle of the word. There's another scale of muntaha al-jumu' that is 6 letters, and it has an aleph as the 3rd letter and a ya as the 5th letter. Mafatih, like that. Al-safir, plural of usfur. Al-safir. Mafatih. The word miftah, key, can be made plural as mafatih. Mafatih. That's mamnu' min as-sarf from the first kind. And then we have mafatih. We can put a ya in there too. Both scales are mamnu' min as-sarf because they're sighat muntaha al-jumu'. That's number 10. Number 11 is any noun that has in it alif at-ta'nith al-maqsura. Like the word hubla, the alif that's maqsura at the end. Hubla, quswa, da'wa, and the likes. You might say, what's the point here? There's no sign of i'rab. It's going to come da'wa every time. Hubla. The point is, there's a sign that's muqaddar, and the muqaddar sign, this is where it gets a little theoretical. You say, what's the i'rab of hubla? Hadihi hubla. Hubla is marfu' alamatu raf'ihi al-dhamma al-muqaddara. The dhamma that is considered to be there. So, like I said, it's kind of theoretical because you don't see anything. You don't have to write any dhamma, and it's only a theoretical dhamma that's there. What is it? Muqaddara. Dhamma muqaddara. Muqaddara means presumed to be there but not written. And that's, like I said, not of the highest priority, but that's our 11th category. The 12th and final category is that which has the alif mamduda at the end. That means an alif that comes and it's followed up by a hamza. Like the word hamra, like the word safra, like the word sawda, like the word bayda. Alif and then a hamza. They stipulate on this one that the alif and hamza have to be za'idatani. They have to be extra, not from the original letters of the noun. And the details of that are outside of our scope. Our time has ended. I hope that you have the 12 categories down, and it's not going to be understood clearly until we have practice and we have implementation. Let me throw a few verses at you, and you tell me where you hear one of those categories. All right? First verse I want to throw at you is وَجَاءَ يَوْمَئِذٍ بِجَهَنَّمَ. Yeah, we have what? Jahannama. All right. Jahannam, not bi jahannamin, but bi jahannama. Why did we do that? It's majroor here, or makhfoodh. Why? Because it's mamnu' min as-sarf. Why is it mamnu' min as-sarf? What are the 2 illas, or what's the illah that takes the place of 2? Proper noun. It's the name of a place. And femininity. Nah, ahsant. You could argue that it's wazn al-fi'l. Jahannama, like takallama. You could argue that case, but what seems to be more commonly mentioned by the scholars is ta'nith, alamiya and ta'nith, jahannam. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi'ad, all the way to the statement wa fir'auna dhil awtad. Wa fir'auna dhil awtad. The word fir'aun, proper noun, alamiya and non-Arabic based, not from far'ana, yufar'inu, but not from an Arabic root. إِنَّ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ مَفَازًا حَدَائِقَ وَأَعْنَابًا. Verily the pious people, they get mafazan, mafaz, success, mafazan, it's munsarif. Then حَدَائِقَ, not حَدَائِقًا وَأَعْنَابًا, but حَدَائِقَ وَأَعْنَابًا. Why is حدائق ممنوع من الصرف here? Wasf and? Well, that's the one you don't have to say two, just one by itself. صيغة منتهى الجموع. By itself, حدائق, 5 letters, alif in the middle. حدائق. So you've got a 5-lettered noun with alif right in the middle. You've got صيغة منتهى الجموع, and it is a plural of حديقة. حدائق. And so it's not حدائقا, but it's حدائق. وكواعب أترابا. Same thing. وكواعب. ولما رجع موسى إلى قومه غضبان أسفا. غضبان is a hal. It's mansub here. Yeah, he's غضبان. He came back in what situation? غضبانا أسفا. But غضبان is ممنوع من الصرف. So you have to say غضبان أسفا. غضبان angry. أسفا sorrowful. غضبان أسفا. Not غضبانا أسفا, but غضبان. And how about this one? أليس الله بأحكام الحاكمين. All right, because there's idafa here, بأحكام, we're going to put a kesra on that one and make it mudaf. And so we're not going to categorize it into our categories of mamnu' min as-sarf because it is munsarif here because of idafa, because it's mudaf. And Allahu tabarak wa ta'ala knows best. This is what He's made easy for us. صلى اللهم وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.